Bhumi now.
All interpreters are okay. All the channels are okay. Everything's smooth to go. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shanati. One minute to go. Sonal, should we start? It's 10. Just waiting for Bhumi is here. Yes, Bhumi is also here. Okay, I think we can start. Yes. So good morning, everybody. And good morning. Hi. Hello, everybody. And welcome to the third day of our forums. And it's the last day, and now I'm feeling nostalgic that it's coming to an end because it was an amazing experience. So with this, my job here is to tell you that any of you who wants any interpretation support, please look at your screen on the right side. There is one logo on that you can click and choose the language of your choice. And that will help you to understand better our vibrant and star-studded panel. And I will also now, I have the honor to welcome and thank Sonal. Sonal, what an honor it is. I'm feeling little, goosebumps introducing you. And Sonal is a mentor and to most of us here. And to begin with, right now she's Regional Director of International Planned Parenthood Federation for South Asia office. And she has decades of experience of empowering, loving, caring, and making the community movements, community advocates. And, and she has been advocating for sexual reproductive health rights, for rights of key population, women, young girls. And many of our journey goes back with Sonal when she used to lead India HIV/AIDS Alliance, where she, got many of the path-breaking programs into action and many of us in action. So with that, Sonal, you told me to be limited with introductions. I'm trying to control myself. And over to you, panel is yours, and we all are very excited.
Thank you so much, Harjot. Good morning to everyone. Shubh Savar, I don't know kya bolte hain. But I'm extremely excited to have this panel with me, where we are going to discuss leaving no one behind. Leaving no one behind is a slogan that so many of us talk about, that so many of us often use, but sometimes many of us are challenged in actually putting it in practice. Leaving no one behind as family planning associations, leaving no one behind as IPPF, International Planned Parenthood Federation, collectively. I can say I'm including everybody, but that's not enough. I'm part of a whole. So if I'm not able to really bring everybody in this whole, I'm probably leaving somebody behind. And we have tried to put a panel together, some of who might sometimes feel that we are not able to include them in what we are doing. And today, my very, very able panelist, मेरे पे जो panel पे जो मेरे साथ है, उनको मुझे ये कहना है कि आपसे, from you we want to hear, हम as IPPF, as family planning associations in South Asia, What should we do that will make sure that you feel included? हम ऐसा क्या करें कि आप सब हमारे साथ मिलकर काम करें, आप हम सब हमारे सबकी सेवाएं लें. So I'm going to first start with somebody that who I personally adore and respect a lot, and that is Mr. Rajat Kumar. He's a regional officer admin and operations at Recity Network Private Limited India, and he's a transman rights activist. He has led and participated in various national level advocacy initiatives for transgender rights with government officials and various NGOs for the formulation of trans rights bill in India. Rajat has supported various community members, individuals who were aspiring trans men with their with Rajat's counseling and their needs and other health and legal requirements, because again, being a trans man also requires a lot of legal procedures. Apart from the formal introduction, personally, I'm extremely impressed by Rajat's courage in making his own life, making his own family, and making his own identity. Over to you, Rajat.
Yeah, मैं भी रोने ही वाला था. I got so emotional, Sonal. Thank you so much for such an introduction, especially the personal part. So first of all, thank you so much, everyone, for being on the same forum. After a long time, I'm having conversation, right? I'm really glad to connect with you all, and it's really amazing for me to share an experience in such a platform where I believe that something will be happen. It's not something that people are listening and leaving the fact, right? But I know why I'm here, because I believe that if I say something over here, in future it will implement absolutely. Yeah. So Sonal, coming to the point, as a trans man, as a trans person, I would like to request you from my side and from our community. First the health we require. As you know, we most of the time going for a sexual surgery, and because being a female to male, we are facing lots of issues also. One of the best example I can give you, one of my friend or miss, as you know, me and Pariti, we were providing the counseling to the trans brother and female partners. So what we got to know, like sometime lots of trans brothers got married forcefully, and they got married, they got pregnant, right? So it is very weird situation for them also, how to deal with that also, you know. And lots of people thinking that AIDS is not coming to the trans brother also, but it is coming to the trans brother also, right? So first is the health we really require for the trans brother, and not only for the trans brother, for the female partner also, right? This is the first thing. Second thing is regarding the space which we require to talk. I believe once we talk, so there should be someone who can listen to us. And I personally, I also know there are lots of trans men who are not ready to talk because of some fear, because of not getting the resources, right? But I'm here to talk about the space, and I'm really grateful, thankful, and I'm so lucky that I got a golden opportunity to work with Alliance, where I learned lots of things, and where I got to know about the project. You know, we are exist. I do remember, Sona, when I give the interview, Hajat was the first person who brought me in Alliance, right? Then you and James were there, right? So the memory is in my head, in my heart, how you are giving us the support, you know. It is not about the money. It is only not about the. It is about the understanding, allowing insight in the mainstreaming, and giving the space to express our identity, right? Because we are living in a male dominated society, and it's really difficult to talk. As you know, 7 7 बजे के बाद लड़की बाहर नहीं जा सकती. There are lots of restriction also. For the this is not a bias mentality, but for male to female, male can go outside, they can stay in at friend house, they can have chat also. But for the female to male, they don't have any network also to connect with each other, right? So this is the second point. Third, sorry, third Third one is awareness about the trans brother. I know कि बहुत सारे trans men नहीं आते हैं सामने, but जितना awareness बढ़ेगा उतना हमें help होगा जानने के लिए, क्योंकि बहुत सारे cases भी हुए हैं state wise में. So my first request will be SRH regarding the health. I want to raise. There are multiple list of things which I want, but as of now, these are the most of the important thing I want to raise over here. Yeah, this is from my side.
Rajat, can you turn off your camera? We can't hear you properly. If you turn off the camera, I will be able to hear you.
Audible now?
It is better. Please go ahead.
Okay. So whatever I said, I hope you all heard, right? Till now? Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, okay. So these are the point like SRH, the health services, the awareness and the space, not only for the trans brother, for the female partner also, because we're facing lots of issues also. Sometimes lots of brother do the sex on the trans brother, because the trans brother that female are not ready to get married, right? So yeah, these are the issues I want to raise over here. First is the SRH, the health.
I think we are losing Rajat. We will come back to him in the second round. I just want to let the audience know this group of people will be happy to answer any questions you have. So please feel free to either post your questions or raise hands, maybe later. Thank you, Rajat. I'm going to move to the second person now, who again is my personal favorite, Sanjya Sreshta. Sanjya Sreshta is youth champion and peer educator at Family Planning Association of Nepal. She is a young leader at Women Deliver, secretary of Women Wing at Adrad Nepal, co-founder and treasurer at Chain for Change. She is contributing to promote sexual and reproductive health rights to persons with disabilities and women in general. She likes dancing, acting, modeling, and is one of the first blind model of Nepal. And again, whatever I have heard about Sanjya, it has only made me, Sanjya, very, very humble at your the advocacy that you do and the affirmation and demands that you put for people who are disabled. Over to you, Sanjya. My question is, do you feel you are included in the services that IPPF and member associations provide? What is it do you think will help you engage with us better? Over to you, Sanjya.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for having me here in this panel today. First, I would like to share some of my experiences. So I'm working at FPAN. I'm currently as a youth champion and as a peer educator, sharing my knowledge to my friends, to whoever I know. And the basis of my sharing is obviously the training and the knowledge I gain from the trainers of FPAN, from the staffs, from the health providers, whoever is working in FPAN. Everyone is a biggest source of information and knowledge to me. And as FPAN is also the member association of International Planned Parenthood Federation, so that way I am included. So, and now I would like to share some of the few experience, some of the few points I would like to highlight in this panel. The main source of our information is observation, right? So how do we observe? We observe by our sense organs. We observe by going somewhere, and by our mobility. We observe, we learn, and we see. And we all agree that, most of us realize and agree that first impression is very important. And how do the first impression would be our appearance, our personality, right? So in that context, how do we feel if the observable things or objects are not accessible? Then we have a huge barriers, huge, breakdown in terms of what we want to learn and how can we grow, enhance, and empower ourselves. So in this context, persons with disabilities, as they have limitations of accessibility in terms of various accessibility, such as infrastructure accessibility, digital accessibility, and the stigma and attitudinal accessibility. So all these items are put in the bucket of accessibility for now. So these accessibility creates barriers, and I already talked about the first impression. So we are very perfect in terms of connecting things. Okay, so whenever we see somebody first time, we start connecting. And in terms of disability, people start connecting each and everything to our disability. If someone does anything, it directly connects it to disability. So here I would like to share a few things which I have come to learn and also I have explored in my peer group members. As disability have limitation in accessibility, they don't get opportunity to explore things, to go out and observe. So the main challenge and the thing that are not spoken and not often talked about is our clothes, is our appearance. However we present, however we dress, that plays a key role in making people know about us. For example, I was joining my college in +2, and the first day I met everyone, talked, and second day one of my friend came running to me and told, "Oh, are you visually impaired?" I said, "Yes, obviously, I have a limited vision. I can only see a few things." And she was quite amazed and told me, "But you don't look like one." "Oh, I don't know how visually impaired and how disabled people should look like. Do you?" Okay, so this shows there are few standard. Society have a standard that males should look like and should be like this, females should be like this, and obviously same goes to us as well. Disabled people should be like this. There is a tendency of generalizing everything. And here I would like to make an important thing that I have realized, that we often talked about everything: reproductive health, SRH needs, we talk about condoms, we talk about safe abortions and all. But in case of disability, we don't talk about innerwears. In case of our clothing, as I said, we learn everything through observation. But as a person becomes disabled, he or she have a limitation to go and observe things, right? So as FPAN and every other agencies are also initiating to talk about the sexual and reproductive health rights of persons with disabilities. But the lack or but the gap is here, that we are not talking about our clothing on our, especially innerwear, which person with disabilities where they use or they get innerwears, whatever is handy for them. They don't know how to match our innerwears to our outfits. Let me give one example to explain this. For example, if we happen to wear the hugging clothes or the clothes that is fitting in our body, then in some cases the persons with visually impaired have no idea about about innerwears that have no edges. Okay, I hope you are understanding what I'm trying to tell. And this is very important because some dresses are transparent and we should, wear a similar sort of innerwears. Some dresses are, loosen up and we should wear the innerwear that are fitting to our body in case of what size we should wear, what patterns, the padded bra, the non-padded bra, and so on. So, of course, with disabilities, disability feel uncomfortable to ask or to know. Not that they are shy, but there are limitations. Even non-disabled people are not aware of these clothes. I know many of my relatives, bang their hair when they want to wear transparent dresses or when they want to wear shari, low-cut blouses, and so on. So in case of disability, it is much more gap. And I truly know that if, something, if we cannot go and see things, the things can come to us, or we can make the path more smoother to watch, right? And there is a Khaskus team. That Khaskus team is the name of one peer group. So once I conducted a orientation about types of bras, types of panties, and how do we match those items in our outfits. So I also talked about how we can identify our breast sizes, our other innerwear sizes, and many of them told that they often wear the innerwears whatever their parents, whatever their relatives bought for them, or they measure the sizes by through the help of their necks, their waist, and so on. So these things are very important, and I would because I would like to highlight upon two items. One is personality, which is very important even in context to sexual and reproductive health rights. Second one is breaking the barriers and stigma. Third one would be sexual violence. See, when I was a kid, I remember still I was at a grade 10 and mom come to pick me up in the school. I was with my friend, and she told me that one of the friend was seems a bit awkward in terms of appearance, and she later told me that she was not wearing bra. She was wearing bra, but that type of bra doesn't match with her clothes, and because of that many people who can see, who are not visually impaired, there are chances of sexual violence or abuse, which many of the disabled person are not aware of. And another barrier I would like to reflect upon here is there are many advertisement source of information. And for example, let's take an advertisement in a television. If we happens to if we for a moment, let's mute the sound. Okay, and do we understand the advertisement without listening? Or let's say, for example, let's switch off the television and only listen the sound of advertisement. So are we able to understand only by listening? OMG, there would be miscommunication, and miscommunication is extremely dangerous, right? So thus whatever things in terms of advertisement or whatever should be designed in such a way that should focus on every diversity. For example, that may include audio description, describing pictures into words, keeping sign language interpretation, keeping it in a simple way, no jargons, and other assistive devices as well. So at the end, I know this is very challenging, very difficult, but let's be brave enough to at least start from what we can. Thank you very much.
Excellent, Sanjana. Excellent. I was planning to collect all the important points, and every time I thought I'm missing something or the other. You mentioned about stereotype. You mentioned about access. Excellent example of innerwear. My God, nobody would even think about it. And suddenly the stereotypes that we all talk about, how much more is multiplied with people who are disabled. Thank you so much. Rajat, I see you are back. I'm going to for now move on. Thank you so much. I wanted to really flag that I'm sure the team members listening to this would be so excited. Often we have discussion about pregnant woman or pregnant person. And I think you raised that point very well, Rajat. And Sanjana, we have discussion about having sign language on this forum also. We had a lot of discussion and you flagged that issue again. Thank you so much. I'm sure all my team members are going to finish and I see, I told you. So really appreciate both of you. Thanks a lot. I'm going to move on and call a third speaker who is amazingly impressive. It's really a power-packed panel. I agree with Harjot. My third speaker is Bhumi Harindran. She is an executive director of National Transgender Network in Sri Lanka. She's a transgender activist in Sri Lanka with openly fights for LGBTQ plus rights. While being a transgender rights activist, she's also a talented dancer, performer, and an award-winning actress. She displayed her acting skills in Sinhala movie Frangipani and is a recipient of SARC Film Award and Sarasavi Film Award. She is the founder and the executive director of National Transgender Network in Sri Lanka. Again, Bhumi, just wanted to end saying I'm really very impressed by the courage that trans people show. I'm so conscious of my dress all the time. And here is this people go out and completely live a life which affirming the identity. Lot and lots of courage to you, Bhumi. Over to you, please. Again, I'm going to request you to focus on family planning associations. Do you think we include you? If not, what should we do to make sure it happens? Over to you, Bhumi.
Thank you so much. I'm overwhelmed and I'm blushing actually. I was trying to collect myself after a really sweet introduction. Thank you so much for having me today. And I'm really sorry for Harjot. She had a really hard time of contacting me. I'm out of communications because these days we are working on the trans protection bill in Sri Lanka, which I got impressed by Indian activist friends and Pakistani activist friends. While I'm talking to all, discussions for now, which happened, I was thinking to myself, it's like almost 11 years of my human rights journey. I joined in 2010 and it's, it's 11 years for this December 1st. So all these 11 years, I was, questioning myself whether the work that we are doing is much not enough, or like the authorities are deaf, or like is there any problem with that, how we express our needs and our rights, our requirements. I was just, like thinking to myself, because like all these entire 11 years, we are talking the same thing. And, by changing the terminologies and the words and the way that we are expressing, because, when it's come to Sri Lankan context, especially in the health sector, I'm not going to mention about other fields because since this is very focused on, sexual and reproductive health, the acceptance and recognition is the most lacking and gapping area. No matter how much we are explaining about, this is very important, trans health and rights also need to be included, and they're also a human being and part of this society, so you need to pay attention. They will always ask us to come and join for forums and meetings just to tick the box to mention that okay, we included them as well. Since I'm working, I actually started my journey with the Family Planning Association, being a volunteer youth member for their youth group network. Not just because I'm working with Family Planning Association for 11 years, I'm telling this, but that is the only platform that I get, I see inclusivity and acceptance and, more focus on communities and community needs. I'm, closely working with the, we also working with the Global Fund HIV Prevention Project. Thank God that the National Transgender Network get to work with Family Planning Association. I have no idea what will be the situation when we had to work with the National AIDS Control Program. I'm sorry, not trying to be sarcastic, but I really want to be realistic. So, during the COVID pandemic and from all these years, it's always the point that I raise. It's not, that we asking, special, attention or like special space, but also equal space and equal attention for transgender health and rights as well. Like I would like to say one instant, like whenever we sometimes I'm not blaming the entire health system. Sometimes thank to my mouth making I honestly I became a bad mouthed person in government forums. I don't get invitations much, but they can't get rid of me because of the international pressure. So it's their unfortunate and it's my fortunate. It's good entertainment thing when you're having a a discussion with government sectors, right? Make them realize and understand that transgenders are not aliens and we are not kind of creatures which implant from Europe to Sri Lanka, or like we are not kind of seeds which British people bought to Sri Lanka and planted in Sri Lanka. We are kind of a people who are coming from the history which not mentioned in Sri Lankan history, but we were. So, and we are still exist. So it's really hard for us to make them realize without seeking sympathy. They always, want us to say like, look, we are suffering, we have this kind of issues, we need your attention, please pay your attention. I mean, I always say that I'm not a puppet and I'm not here to entertain the government sectors or like service providers. Listen, it's your duty and it's your responsibility to make sure that our voices are heard and we also counted and we also part of this society. So it's really hard, and the biggest support that we get from the only institute is the Family Planning Association. So they always, I mean, like they are the one who actually supported us through the Global Fund to establish this transgender network, because we didn't have any proper network or an organization specifically talking about trans rights and acceptance. So, I mean, honestly, we started started working on the trans protection bill also. I mean, having discussions and, giving points, it's kind of putting a plaster for a patch, right? It can come out at any point. So I just wanted to make, put a stitch on it, like as a permanent solution. So in this trans protection bill, we are going to put a major focus on health and legal aspects as well. So in that case also we were lost how to do it, because like fortunately or unfortunately everything depends on funding. So we were like kind of stuck to moving forward with discussions and consultations. So Family Planning Association is the one who again supported us to make forward. I'm not praising Family Planning Association here, just to make my clear point. Because whenever things are not correct, I tell it directly, because I think that I'm not a robot, which everybody else have a remote on. So yes, it's a big issue, because we are not counted as human beings. We are not counted as part of this society. We are not, our health, I mean, specifically transgenders health is not counted as important things, that we are always counted and considered as people who are trying to destroy the nature and the culture. So it's unfortunate. I think we need to move beyond on discussion levels. I think discussions are happening all over the world, and every single day in 365 days, and every year. So I think we need to come to a solid platform and with solid solutions, which this so-called very brilliant stakeholders, and well-educated politicians, to make them realize that this is really important. And just because the world estimates say that 1% of the population are transgenders, we are not a less limit. We can do a lot more for this society if you are giving us an opportunity. We can be very useful and very meaningful human beings and citizens if you're giving us an opportunity. We are special people who, what I believe, God have sent to this world to impress people, to show how to live a life, a meaningful life, moving forward with so much courage and breaking all barriers and stigmas, and stand up for what we believe. And I don't call myself an LGBT activist, because I think these kind of rights are, equality, acceptance, equity is for all humankind, all human beings. It doesn't matter that you are disabled. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't use that word. I call it differently abled. And they are very special people. Because I'm sorry, Sanjia, if my words offend you. I think we are the people who are blind, not them. They can see, they can see the light through the darkest days, darkest situations. I think people who are discriminating us are blind and deaf, and going to be dumb as well, by seeing our success and our struggle. So I'm so proud. I was worrying about, whenever going through these hard times, like why this is to me. I should have been so-called normal girl or boy. Then I was thinking to myself, oh no, trans life is so rocking. I will be so boring human person if I'm going to be so-called normal girl or boy, right? Whatever I have achieved, just because I born this way, I achieved this. Otherwise, I don't get, I will go with the normal flow, right? So yeah, I think as a community, as in a region, as people who are working for equality, we should come together and come to a concrete, solid solutions, which is going to convince brilliant politicians to make our lives better. Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent, Bhumi. Thank you so much. Acceptance, acceptance, access, acceptance seem to be a theme running through and through. Thank you so much, Bhumi. With you on that. I'm going to now very quickly move, and I'm going to request speaker to keep their narration a little limited so that we can have a second round of question answer. The next speaker, somebody, again, I was very impressed last time I was visiting Nepal. Parina Subha, activist and founder of Drishti Nepal. Parina has over 17 years of experience working with key affected populations, and in particular with women who use drugs and sex workers, among others. Drishti Nepal's mission is to create a stigma and discrimination-free society for female drug users in Nepal and prevent them from contacting HIV. The organization provides care, treatment, and support for women who use drugs and help them reintegrate into the society. Personally, I don't like the word reintegrate, but I'm with you. I think it is the society who needs to reintegrate with the realities of people, different people in this world, as Bhumi put it very nicely in the last speech. Parina, I'm going to invite you. I really remember your words are ringing in my head when you said Family Planning Association, and then you stared at me and said, are we in that? I want you to really share your thoughts, your ideas of, do you feel included? If not, what is it that we need to change? Over to you, Parina.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This gives me immense pleasure to share this forum with amazing people from Asia, and my sincere gratitude to IPPF. You know, so before I start something, I want to quote a bit of my own experience. Like, there's nothing more sexiest thing than to be my own voice, and I'm a survivor. Because today is 25th of November and 16 days of activism has started. And this is something that I was thanking Harjo that, oh, wow, good, great, thank God, you know, because, you know, when it comes to violence, when it comes to such issues related to women, and on top of women like us, it's always in just the surface level, you know, it's nothing there. And I'm glad that we all are speaking the same language in different, you know, level. But I'm very happy. So yes, when we think of women who use drugs and women living with HIV or women who sell sex, there's always not a thin, you know, layer. There's a huge gap on how we see women like us from that particular community. You know, there's a huge stigma, there's a huge discrimination. And when I have to think about family planning, it's been quite some time that we have started working with them, and we have started building up a good rapport. However, the question that I asked Sonal last time was like, you know, we don't know how far we're gonna go and how far we're gonna get support, how far it's going to be. Because in my personal experience, I've been through so many things in life that I know there are so many women behind who are not being heard, who are not being seen, who are not being actually included. So for me, family planning, what family planning can do is something, a big question. But coming from that, I wouldn't say marginalized community. We are no more marginalized community. That's what I want to share. We are here to speak out. We are here to share what we got. We are here with our own stories. So we are equally valuable than any other constitution, any other community. So all I can say is now it's time for us to come together. Family planning, what family planning can do or what cannot family planning can do is not a question. It's about how we can move forward for the betterment of the community, not excluding any one of us, nobody. And I'm very glad that you know, IPPF has brought all of this amazing, beautiful people, including myself, in this forum. You know, what could be better than this? This is a start, and I look forward to have more of this. And we cannot expect things to change in a night or in a day. So I'm very positive about what is happening now. And once again, thanks a lot. So I'll answer more in another questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Parina. But before you go, if you don't mind, very briefly, and I hesitate asking you this, but on this public forum, you keep saying people like me. Who are you and who is like me?
People like me is women who use drugs, women who speak what they want, women who knows their boundaries, women who stand for themselves. And above that, women who decides what their body wants. That's what I mean. Because I come from that community where I became a mother out of wedlock. And this is not actually a simple thing to be in this society, to be in Nepal and you are not married and you decide to have a baby. Imagine. So, you know, it's such a deep rooted stigma that it's taking, still I'm fighting against those stigma. You know, people stare at me. Oh, you're a mother. Oh, and then like, you know, Sanjaya said that, how does a mother look like? What do you mean? You know, if abortion can be a choice, why not to be a mother be our choice? Because this is our body and we have every right to think or to do what we want to do in life, you know? So a woman like me is the whole package.
That's the
Thank
Parina,
you.
I know. Thank you so much, Parina. I'm humbled by your sharing, so personal sharing. I'm going to move to, again, Parina also flags acceptance, stigma. It's amazing that here is me thinking, oh my God, I'm being discriminated against men. And then I hear all of you and I'm like, I'm completely humbled. There is a stigma onion goes bigger and bigger and bigger. Oppressions within oppression is a story probably. And that is where probably that is the context in which family planning associations need to work. I'm going to now move to our next speaker, who is Mukta Tyagi. Mukta is a youth activist. Mukta will be speaking in Hindi. So if you need to listen to the translation, then probably you will have to move to a selection. Let me introduce briefly Mukta. Mukta works to build capacity of adolescent and young people affected by HIV by enhancing their knowledge and skills on sexual and reproductive health, gender and sexuality, positive living, and mental health. Mukta ardently works with adolescents of all ages, gender, including sexual minority, to have comprehensive knowledge on their sexual health rights and responsibilities. Again, personally, I have seen Mukta blossom as a young, scared girl affected by HIV to a confident individual who is right now a survivor, as Parina said, and is helping the larger group in the society. Mukta, up next.
नमस्कार आप सबको। सबसे अच्छी फैमिली तो आप सब हैं जो आपने मुझे याद किया, इतना सारा प्यार दिया। IPPS माय फैमिली, जहां से मेरी स्टार्टिंग हुई है, पहले रेडी प्लस प्लस से, और अब दूसरी जो फैमिली है, छोटी सी फैमिली मेरे घर पे है, और जो नेक्स्ट फैमिली है वो आप सब हैं, जिससे मुझे काफी हौसला मिलता है, आगे चलने की जो उम्मीदें हैं और आगे जाती है। तो मैं अपने बारे में कुछ कहना चाहूंगी। HIV पॉजिटिव, जो मतलब काफी सारे उतार चढ़ाव मेरी लाइफ में आए हैं, और लेकिन मैंने कभी हिम्मत नहीं हारी आज तक, और आगे भी पूरा स्ट्रॉन्ग होके चलने की इच्छा है, और आप लोगों से जुड़ी रहूंगी, तो ये सब मुमकिन मतलब होगा ऐसा सब कुछ। तो
मुक्ता, हम
Yes.
आपसे पूछना चाहते हैं कि फैमिली प्लानिंग एसोसिएशन जैसी संस्थाओं को ऐसा क्या करना चाहिए जिससे आपको लगे कि बिना किसी स्टिग्मा के, बिना किसी डिस्क्रिमिनेशन से आपको सर्विसेज मिलती है और अवेयरनेस मिलती है। जो भी यंग लोग हैं, जो भी यंग, बच्चे नहीं बोलना चाहिए, एडल्ट्स हैं, यंग लोग हैं, उनको सुरक्षित यौन और प्रजनन स्वास्थ्य के लिए क्या काम करना चाहिए, ये प्रश्न है।
पहली बात तो ये है कि मुझे काफी सारे ऐसे लोग मिले हैं जो अपनी भावनाओं को रख नहीं पाते, डॉक्टर से भी नहीं मतलब अपनी बातें शेयर कर पाते, और उन्हें काउंसलिंग करने के लिए भी कोई ऐसा बंदा नहीं मिलता है जो अपनी बातों को वो शेयर करे। उन्हें काफी सारी दिक्कतों का सामना करना पड़ता है, जैसे मेरी शादी कैसे होगी, मेरे बेबी कैसे होंगे, उनको तो ये प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगी HIV को लेके। सारी चीजें अंदर से घुटन सी महसूस करती है, जो आगे लोगों को बढ़ाना है कि ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, जैसे नॉर्मल लोग जी रहे हैं उस तरीके से हम भी जी सकते हैं। सबसे पहला फैमिली से जुड़ी हुई माँ होती है जो आगे बढ़ाती है, जो परिवार को जोड़े रखती है और उसको आगे लेके चलती है। वो माँ हर एक औरत के अंदर है, आप लोगों में भी है, हम लोगों में भी है, चाहे वो सिंगल हो चाहे वो फैमिली से जुड़ी हुई हो। और उसका स्ट्रोंग होना काफी अहमियत है, क्योंकि कहते हैं एक मकान की नींव ही अगर कमजोर होगी तो वो मकान कभी पूरा नहीं होगा, एकदम से वो गिर जाएगा। अगर वो मकान स्ट्रोंग होगा, नींव स्ट्रोंग होगी उसकी, तो वो मकान काफी सालों तक चलता है।
तो
और
एक संस्था को
वो
क्या करना
मकान
चाहिए?
हमारे, हाँ जी, वो
Sorry.
मकान हमारे हमारे अंदर है, वो नींव हमारे अंदर है, जिसको हमें पहले खुद को देखना है, फिर बाकी लोगों को भी दिखाना है, ताकि हम उन लोगों को आगे बढ़ा सकें। हाँ जी।
प्रश्न ये था कि संस्थाओं को क्या करना चाहिए ताकि जो भी बच्चे HIV ग्रस्त है, HIV के साथ जी रहे हैं, उनको अपना स्वास्थ्य, अपना प्रजनन स्वास्थ्य, अपना भविष्य और उज्जवल दिखे। ऐसा आपको कोई ख्याल आता है कि ये हो जाए तो ज्यादा अच्छा है, वो हो जाए तो ज्यादा अच्छा है?
मैम, पहले तो यूथ से स्टार्ट होता है कि जो लोग मेडिसिन खा रहे हैं, वो जो HIV से ग्रस्त है, उनको इतनी नॉलेज देनी चाहिए कि अपने बच्चों को कैसे पालन पोषण करना है, इस चीज को कैसे उनको बचाना है, जो चीजें हमारे अंदर है उनको कैसे ना हो, इस चीज को लेके मतलब पहले डॉक्टर से सलाह लें बेबी पैदा करने से पहले, कि भाई ये चीज हमारे लिए सही है या गलत है, इस मेडिसिन से क्या नुकसान है, क्या अच्छा है। जो चीज अच्छी है वो हमें चुननी चाहिए और उनके ऊपर फोकस भी करना चाहिए। और संस्थाओं के द्वारा मतलब जागरूक करें लोगों को कि ज्यादा से ज्यादा जितना फैलाया जाए उससे अच्छी बात तो कोई नहीं है, क्योंकि काफी सारे लोग हैं जो जानकारी नहीं है जिनके लोगों के अंदर, तो उनको जानकारी देनी चाहिए। जैसे हम जैसे यूथ है, मेरे सामने काफी सारे पेशेंट आते हैं, तो अंदर से डरे हुए सहमे से रहते हैं कि बच्चा कैसे होगा, होगा कि नहीं होगा, ये सारी चीजें उनके, उन्हें फ्यूचर कैसा होगा आने वाले टाइम में। अभी मेरी एक फ्रेंड को मतलब डॉक्टर ने डरा दिया था कि बेबी को भी HIV है और हो सकता है, और आने वाले टाइम में, अभी 1 मंथ हुआ है, मतलब एक महीना हो गया उसके बेबी हुए, और ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है। काफी लोग होते हैं जो अंदर से घबरा जाते हैं, मेरे बच्चे को तो ये प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। मैंने उसको काफी सारी काउंसलिंग करी, जो भी होगा भगवान के ऊपर छोड़ दे, तो अपनी सेहत पे ध्यान दे। सबसे अच्छी चीज ये है कि तू खुश रहे, अंदर से हैप्पी रहे, और तू, ऐसा कुछ नहीं होने वाला, सब कुछ अच्छा होगा। जरूरी नहीं है कि हम ऐसे हैं तो हमारे बच्चे भी ऐसे होंगे, सबसे मेन चीज ये है। तो मैंने उसे काउंसलिंग करी, मतलब काउंसलिंग करके मैंने उसे बताया कि ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, डर मत, घबरा मत। पहले खुद उसके अंदर हौसला जगाया कि ऐसा कुछ नहीं होने वाला है। फिर उसके अब बेबी है, वो काफी खुश है, 1 महीना मतलब हो गया है उसके बेबी को। अब वो मुझे बुला रही है, कहती है पार्टी ले ले, ये है वो है। मैंने कहा पार्टी ले लूंगी, पहले तुम माँ बेटा स्वस्थ रहो और इसकी बीच बीच में टेस्टिंग कराते रहो, ताकि तुम्हें पता रहे अभी से ही, और तुम आने वाले फ्यूचर के बारे में उसकी मतलब हेल्प कर सको।
थैंक यू मुक्ता, हम आपके पास वापस आएंगे आगे जाके। थैंक यू सो मच अगेन। मुक्ता हैज फ्लैग्ड।
थैंक यू मैम।
Thank you, Mukta. We will come back. Stay there.
Okay.
Mukta has flagged very important point about awareness, education, but also about needs of special groups. I think the special groups who often we forget, exactly as Sanjana was saying, as Rajat was saying, I don't think I can really compare anybody with anybody, but each of this group has their own worries, as their own um, stresses, and I think there is enough knowledge. Nobody needs more knowledge. What people need is probably reach out, acceptance and access, as everybody is saying. My next speaker is going to be Yasmin Kaushar. Yasmin Kaushar is a sex worker rights activist. She fights for the health and human rights of female sex workers. During the COVID-19 lockdown, Yasmin provided support and assistance to female sex workers as they struggled with poverty, homelessness, and faced harassment due to closure of all services. Yasmin advocated the government and policymakers for women who have experienced gender-based violence from state and non-state actors. She believes that much of this violence is directly connected to rigid and harmful gender norms. यास्मीन, हम आपको बुला रहे हैं ये बताने के लिए कि जो सेक्स वर्कर में जुड़ी हुई औरतें हैं उनको ज्यादा से ज्यादा अच्छी सर्विसेज दे पाए, उसके लिए फैमिली प्लानिंग एसोसिएशन जैसी संस्थाओं को क्या करना चाहिए. यास्मीन, ओवर टू यू.
मेरा नाम यास्मीन कौसर है. मैं मध्य प्रदेश के एक जिले छिंदवाड़ा में रहती हूँ. मेरे संगठन का नाम राहा फाउंडेशन है और मैं आईपीएस का धन्यवाद करती हूँ और हरजोत मैम का धन्यवाद करती हूँ जिन्होंने हमको मौका दिया. फैमिली प्लानिंग को लेके जैसे हम बात करते हैं, फैमिली प्लानिंग हमको भी बहुत जरूरत है. मैं एज अ खुद कम्युनिटी लीड कर रही हूँ, तो हमको इसलिए जरूरत है क्योंकि हमारे साथ में क्राइसिस ज्यादा होते हैं. क्राइसिस के साथ में कानून जो हमारे पीछे रात दिन से लगा रहता है, तो इस वजह से हमें सर्विसेज नहीं मिल पाती है, हम पीछे रह जाते. तो सबसे पहले तो हमें कम्युनिटी पे फोकस होना चाहिए. कम्युनिटी के लिए, नॉन कम्युनिटी के लिए तो हर कोई काम करता मैम, लेकिन कम्युनिटी के लिए कोई नहीं करता. और धन्यवाद करती हूँ मैं आईपीएस का जो हमारी कम्युनिटी के बारे में सोचे और कम्युनिटी के लिए इतना कुछ विचारे. तो अबॉर्शन के लिए हमें अपने हस्बैंड के नाम बताने पड़ते. अगर कभी बाई चांस हमारा कॉन्डोम फट जाता है, कोई समस्या आ जाती है, अगर हम जाते अबॉर्शन के लिए, अगर हम गोली भी खाते, टैबलेट खाते, पहले तो चोरी चोरी टैबलेट खाते, टैबलेट का हमें काफी इन्फेक्शन हो जाता है बॉडी में, जिसके वजह से हमको मजबूरन हॉस्पिटल जाना पड़ता. जब हॉस्पिटल जाते हैं पता चलता है कि ये सेक्स वर्कर है, तो उसको नकारा जाता है. दूसरी चीज, अगर उनको पता चल गया हम कुंवारे या शादी नहीं हुई या कुछ भी, तो हस्बैंड का नाम पूछने लगते. और कई बार क्या होता हमारी फैमिली में, हम अपने हस्बैंड के साथ तो सेफ्टी यूज कर लेते हैं, कभी कभी करते. क्यों करते? ताकि हमारे को बच्चा ना हो, इसलिए हम सेफ्टी यूज करते. अब हम तो घर में सेफ्टी यूज कर रहे हैं और हमारे पति से भी नहीं कह सकते कि हमें बच्चा रुक गया है. समस्या है, वहां पे हस्बैंड का नाम भी नहीं लिखा सकते. मेन समस्या ये भी है. तो जब वहां पे ये बात आती है तो हस्बैंड का नाम लाओ, ये बुलाओ. लेकिन जब हमारी फैमिली प्लानिंग सेक्स वर्कर के लिए होगी तो हमें ये सब चीजें बताने की जरूरत नहीं होगी. ये हमारे अधिकार हम जाके स्वयं से ले सकते हैं. तो ये सब चीजें हमारे सामने आती है, सब दिक्कतें हमको बहुत फेस करनी पड़ती है. तो
बिल्कुल सही बात है यास्मीन. कोई संस्था है जहां आप काम करते हो जो आपको ये सब करने में सहाय करे? कैसी संस्था आप चाहते हो जो ये सब?
संस्था है तो मैडम, मैं तो एनजीओ बिल्कुल नहीं चाहती, मैं तो टीआई प्रोजेक्ट बिल्कुल नहीं चाहती. हम चाहते हैं कि एक संगठन हो, सीबीओ हो, जिनके माध्यम से ये काम हो. और कम्युनिटी होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि कम्युनिटी को महत्व नहीं दिया जाता है. कम्युनिटी को महत्व अलायंस दे रहा है, कम्युनिटी को मैं महत्व नेशनल के कई प्रोजेक्ट दे रहे, लेकिन जो हमारे लोकल लेवल पे टीआई प्रोजेक्ट होते, ये होते, वो सेवाएं तो अगर आपसे अगर कोई पर्सनली कोई दिक्कतें आ गई सामने, तो आपको भी नहीं देंगे और आपके साथ में जो महिलाएं जुड़ी है उनको भी नहीं देंगे. तो क्या एक व्यक्ति की वजह से दिक्कतें नहीं आ सकती? क्या आपको वो एक व्यक्ति को भी पकड़ना बहुत जरूरी है. तो हमें ऐसे संगठन को जोड़ना है जो संगठन से गुजरा है, उस फील्ड से गुजरा है और वो उसको समझे ज्यादातर.
बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया. यास्मीन, अगेन हम आएंगे. Yasmin also flags a very, very important issue is the provider bias. जो भी आपको सेवाएं देते हैं उनके अपने दिमाग में ये जो ब्लॉक्स है, उनके अपने दिमाग में पति होना चाहिए, कुंवारा नहीं होना चाहिए, प्रेग्नेंट हो तो शादीशुदा होना चाहिए, ये जो सारी बातें हैं उनकी. कुछ बोलना चाहते हो यास्मीन?
जी, मैं भी, मेरी बात खत्म नहीं हुई.
हाँ, बोलिए.
और सबसे पहले हमें इनको सेंसिटाइज करना बहुत जरूरी है. जितने भी लोग हैं उन्हें हमें सेंसिटाइज करना बहुत जरूरी है. और दूसरी चीज मैम, कि हमने लॉकडाउन में इतनी दिक्कतों का सामना हुआ, हम सेक्स वर्कर बहनों का आज भी इतनी स्टिग्मा है और इतनी प्रॉब्लम है फाइनेंशियल कि लोगों को काम नहीं मिल पा रहे हैं। महिला सेक्स वर्कर काफी परेशान है। तो मैं चाहती हूँ हमारी महिला सेक्स वर्कर के लिए कुछ अच्छा सा अच्छा, और पैसे नहीं होने के कारण कई बार वो इलाज भी नहीं करा पाती,
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
तो उसे बड़े प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल में जाना पड़ता, तो बहुत ज्यादा भरपाई देना पड़ता उनको।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल सही बात है आपकी। सो प्रोवाइडर बायस इज वेरी स्ट्रांगली फ्लैग्ड, एंड आई वुड होप कि फैमिली प्लानिंग एसोसिएशन में ऐसा ना होता हो, लेकिन provider bias is individual based. I don't think we can really distinguish between individual to individual. अब
जी,
यास्मीन कुछ और बोलना चाहते हो?
जी
हाँ,
लॉकडाउन में हम सेक्स वर्कर के पास में पैसा फाइनेंस ना होने के बाद भी हमने अलग अलग संगठनों के साथ जुड़े, अलग अलग संगठनों से हेल्प लिए, और हमारी महिला सेक्स वर्कर को लेकर हमने उन्हें किट को उपलब्ध करवाया, और पैसे फाइनेंस भी उनको दिलवाए, जहां जैसी जैसी जरूरतें थी वैसी वैसी जरूरतों पे उनके साथ दिए। काफी हमारे साथ में बाहर के नेशनल लेवल की टीम भी जुड़ी हुई थी जिन्होंने मदद किया, हमारे यहाँ पे लोकल संगठन भी थे जिन्होंने मदद किया, उनके माध्यम से हमने उन्हें सेवाएं वगैरह पहुंचाते, और कई बार उन्हें सोशल एक्टिविटी से भी वो पिछड़ जाते, तो हम उनके साथ में सोशल एक्टिविटी से भी उनको जोड़ते, अगर क्या समस्या है, आपके पास क्या चीज नहीं है, तो वो हम उसको जिस तरह से शॉर्ट में बनाना पड़ता है तो हम उसको उस तरीका का रास्ता बताते, इसलिए हमारी संस्था का भी नाम हमने राहा फाउंडेशन रखा है। थैंक यू, धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू यास्मीन, बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया, आपने बहुत अच्छी बात कही। आई एम गोइंग टू encourage audience, if you have any questions, please either post or raise your hand and we will invite you to talk about it. Meanwhile, I'm going to ask a question to our panel. मैं हमारी पैनल को एक क्वेश्चन पूछ रही हूँ। I will speak in English and then I will speak in Hindi. संस्था, कोई भी संस्था एक कंट्री के लीगल फ्रेमवर्क में काम करती है। अगर हमने किसी यंग पर्सन को, या संजय, मुक्ता, रजत, कोई भी जवाब दे सकता है, हमने किसी यंग पर्सन को कुछ ट्रीटमेंट दिया, बहुत ही अच्छे इरादे से दिया, सडनली उसके घर वाले जाके कंप्लेन करने लगते हैं कि मेरे बच्चे को तो जबरदस्ती सेक्स में इंक्लूड कर रहे हैं, वो उनको जबरदस्ती कॉन्डोम का एजुकेशन दिया और देखो अभी वो बिगड़ गया, उनको जबरदस्ती ट्रांसजेंडर बना दिया, उनको जबरदस्ती। Let me just a minute, Yasmin. I will say in English so that others can also answer. So I'm saying that a country organization works in country's legal context if, with all good faith, organization like FHAI or like Family Planning Association, any family planning association gives services, and then somebody misuses that to go to police, to go to government and say that you have spoiled our child, you have spoiled our friend, made them transgender with force, encourage them to have sex. What does the organization do? हाँ यास्मीन, आप जवाब देना चाहते हो पहले?
बहुत जरूरी चीज है मेरी मैम, एसटीआई प्रॉब्लम होती है हमें, बच्चादानी में कैंसर, गिठाने, ये बहुत जरूरी है हमारी फैमिली प्लानिंग में सारी चीजों की। और दूसरी चीज की एनल सेक्स बहुत हो रहा है, एनल सेक्स में भी हम लोगों को काफी दिक्कतों का, एसटीआई का और गुप्त रोगों का बहुत सारी समस्याओं का सामना करना पड़ता है।
आई सी। और एनल सेक्स की बात आप कर सकते हो डॉक्टर के सामने?
जी बिल्कुल।
एंड डॉक्टर
क्या होता है, एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर पाते, क्योंकि देखो महिलाओं के साथ में तो एनल सेक्स बहुत कम होते हैं, लेकिन ट्रांसजेंडर के साथ रात दिन उनके साथ में ये सब समस्या आती रहती है, लेकिन फीमेल सेक्स वर्कर के साथ भी आती है समस्या। आपको सेक्स के लिए ले गया एक व्यक्ति ने, वो सेक्स कर रहा है, वो उस बीच में उसकी डिमांड एनल सेक्स की होगी, उसने जबरदस्ती कर लिया, तो आप क्या इस चीजों को मैं अपनी सहेली से भी शेयर नहीं कर सकती, तो डॉक्टर से करना तो बहुत दिक्कतों का सामना है। तो हमें ऐसे लोग होना जो हमारी काउंसलिंग भी अच्छी हो और हम उनसे जाके खुल के बात कर सके। डॉक्टर भी कई बार हमारी गोपनीयता भंग कर देते हैं।
बिल्कुल सही बात है, बिल्कुल सही बात है। Thank you, Yasmin. Very important point that you flagged. Anybody else would like to respond to the question that I was saying, Bhumi, Parina, Sanjaya? Anybody else? What happens if the organize? Yes, Rajat, go ahead.
Yeah. So Sonal, I would like to share my own experience over here. As you know, Miss, let me tell other people also. Me and my wife, Faridi, we run away from the home and we went to Delhi for my own right because I was facing some mental, like my, I, I had some domestic violence at my home. So when one organization help us, Sangeni Foundation, will help us to provide some space and the network. Uh, my my parents came over there, and my partner parents also came over there, and they told file a complaint against the Sangeni Foundation that they are asking us to do sex. They are running the sex racket basically, and they are misguiding us for this thing, and in the favor of that we left our house. So this was the big misunderstanding of my parents, of my partner parents, right? So that time I was so shocked, like rather than listening to me, why? Because running lifting the house is so big thing in India, right? It requires lots of courage, and to take a decision for being a woman. And we did not know about the Delhi city, and that time Nirbhaya case happened actually. But still, we run away from the home. Same thing I told my parents. Why don't you think this thing that children, miss baby girl or baby boy, leaving the house? Why? Don't blame other person. Just think from your point of view first. Because Sangini is ready to tell, right? We are not doing this thing, that thing. But I said there is no need to explain over here. You know, if they are ready to listen, then only talk. If they are not ready to listen, we can't, convince them for this thing. First thing I mentioned. Second thing, as I'm adult, my partner was adult, so we can take our own decision. No one force us to do this thing and to do that thing. So I think if such case happen, individually the victim I can say, or if it happened with me, so I have to take a stand for myself, that this organization help us to find our own way, right? We are glad this organization helping us, and most of the time we try to convince from our side to the parents or to the society. No one forces, this is our own decision, and please accept and respect the decision which we took. So organization is walking with us. They are not pushing us and they are not pulling us. So we need to take a stand. I think the one call here is we need to take a stand clearly. We need to mention
Yeah.
this thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And sorry, I'm taking one more minute. One more example I would like to tell you. What happened to lesbian girl run away from the home and they went to the Sangini, right? So their parents convinced her daughter to file a case against Sangini and for that partner. And the mother asked that I would like to talk with my baby girl alone, and she made her emotional. And then when she came after meeting her parent, she blamed the girl, her life partner, and the Sangini. No, they forced me, they tried to push me to take a decision, all this thing, you know. So that time the situation was very worse, you know. But
Yeah.
apart from that, there was one counselor. So that counselor provide this counseling to her. Just tell me the reality. They check the record. You contact the person. This is your decision. So
Yeah.
these two cases I share over here.
Sure.
I think this will help work.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Rajat. Very nice. Sanjay, you have a specific question, and we are just curious. Rajat talked about how the family can be sometimes problem. There is a question which says, can you tell us if people face sexual violence within the families or homes, and often how do people cope with it?
Okay, in the disability community, the sexual violence and forced sterilization is two of the most, most important issue here in Nepal. And I believe there is also in other countries of South Asia region as well. And once I was in the group counseling session for the parents, and few parents wanted to talk with me separately. And what the issue was? They wanted to have for sterilization for their children. And their point was, they have disabled female children, and they're having menstruation, and they are not able to manage their period by themselves, and they have to work outside to feed their children, to feed their family. And how do we cope with that? So therefore they want to have for sterilization, and they want my help in that. So see how the intersecting things come to a point, and that point brings many problems. Here is the point. Here is not about only about for sterilization. The point here is also about the parents concerning about their children. If the children have have any if any other persons do have any, if the children face violence, then she might get pregnant or so forth and forth. So I connect the parents to family planning association, and also talk and also counsel myself. And later on we gave a training to all those parents, that how to teach self-management skills to the disabled people. See, disability also have a diversity: persons who are physically impaired, persons who have hearing impaired, or and so forth and forth. So the management skills depend according to their disability. So we along with Family Planning Association gave orientation to the parents to teach their children management skills. How can they teach their children to manage their period, or to manage their their changes that they're having in their physical body? Because disabled person, every person are sexual being. We cannot deny this fact, and we cannot alter this fact as well. So what we can do is we can teach our children the management skills and the protection skills. So we did that.
Thank you, Sanja. Again, forced sterilization. Mukta also mentioned to a certain extent discouraging being pregnant. You talked about forced sterilization, very common. Parina very indirectly touched it. Parina, there is a question saying, can you suggest 2 specific things you think family planning associations can do to really be more inclusive? Bhumi, after Parina, I'm going to come to you with a very different question. Just preparing you. Over to you, Parina.
So I would like to share a recent one of the case that we have dealt with. There was a woman who got pregnant, and it was like over 6 months, and then she was in a very toxic relationship. Her partner, he just vanished somewhere, and she has been living outside alone, and she was also using drugs. So, in that case, we tried taking her to different places and everywhere. What I want to flag is, I know there has been tremendous, work in legal basis. I mean, abortion is legal here up to this and that and that. There are work has been done in the paper or the document. I'm sure in every countries. But when it comes to us, there's a series of stigmatization words, like either you have to say that you have been raped. Okay. In fact, that was not raped. All right. Or we have to get someone from our family to take the risk. If something happens, who's gonna take the risk? Okay. So we were in so much of confusion, that we didn't know what to do. Because if we look from legal perspective, we cannot take someone's, all the things, like we can't take the risk. So that was the time when our team realized that, okay, now this is where the family planning has to work efficiently. Because being there, okay, this is what we have, or this is what law says, is not actually enough. And if we look at the whole scenario, if we be practical, when we go through such kind of situations, trust me, you see nothing. And unfortunately, in country like us, there's no support from government, and the long-term mental, pressure, it's always actually carried by women. See, we'll have to live in a guilt that, okay, I have to do this, I had to do this, this and this and this. And then in every ways, it's the loss of a woman and a child. So I would actually, like to recommend, or I would like to say that family planning should start working on such things and invest on such things where we make a smooth way to go and get the service, regardless of our sex, gender, occupation, identity, whatsoever. We should not be, the law or whatever it comes, that should not be the barrier on taking the services. And also, when we talk about cervical cancer, we don't have specific information or like very simple language, information for us. There's nothing. If we talk about this, medical terms, trust me, we don't understand. I don't understand, and I don't lie about this. I'm not going to understand. What is it? So invest the FPAN and IPPF, start investing on making information which is actually understood by our community, not that use medical terms, because we don't understand at all. And that's where we lack on even going to the service center. Okay, there's a VIA thing, and then let's do it. We did once, we did with family planning during 2020, 2018, 19. We did that. But unfortunately, what happened was like, it was more of medical things, medical terms, which actually it's very hard for people like us to understand. So this is one of the core recommendation, or I would like to suggest IPPF and family planning, to invest more on developing very simple information where we can go and access, and this is what we are lacking. Even in Nepal, when it comes to women living with HIV and women who use drugs, trust me, they would look at us like alien. They would always put us in the back. Last, come in the last, okay? And this is not only with SRHR, even with the dentist, even wherever we go. So that should stop, and family planning should focus on also bridging the gaps from, with what's happening with other service providers who are working in SRHR. So from legal perspective, it's there, but when it comes to practical way, and implementing everything, it's very hard for us. So I would like to flag this, and let's work on it together. And I'm sure like everyone is going through the same condition in their own home country. We have to fight, and we get so irritated, we get so angry, and then it just comes out, because we are the ones who are delivering services in the grassroots level. We are the ones who are dealing in everyday basis. Sometimes like one person would call this happen, another would call this happen, then if we don't know the simplest way to even communicate with our peers, it's going to be very hard. And we don't think we can achieve what we want to achieve in the next 5 years. So that's what I have to say. Thank you, Sonal.
Fantastic. Rely on Parina to say as it is, huh? Very good. Thank you. We will keep absolutely all of you. आप लोगों ने जो भी बोला है हम वो दिमाग में रखेंगे. वो organization हमको बनना है. Bhumi, I'm not sure whether you are there. I have one direct question. We are nearing the time limit very quickly. Yay, you are there. So I have one question to you, Bhumi. Sometimes, so I'm a single woman in mid-50s, never married, sexually active. Don't misunderstand. And when I see Family Planning Association, I'm like, family, I'm not planning. As and when? Do I belong here?
I think yes. Sorry, you.
Yes, my
have-
question to
yes.
you. आपको ऐसा ख्याल आता है कभी? Do you think that way कभी? Do you think there is anything? Forget Family Planning Association of Sri Lanka. Yay to it. Generally, for any organization, what is it that you want us to make sure that you feel this is my house? What is it that you think we should do?
Well, personally, wherever I go, I own that place. That's a different story. But I think before I start working,
What
with
pulls
something-
you to Sri Lanka Family Planning Association? That is the question, actually.
I think before I start working with Family Planning Association, family planning is a kind of a rocket science for me. Because like, okay, to get a service, then you should have a family. And then what is your family? What family means, right? It's, it's a different story. So, but while, after I started working with Family Planning Association, then I realized what was the scope. What is the scope of Family Planning Association? It's about sexual and reproductive health, developing, helping to develop the sexual and reproductive health. I think to develop your sexual and reproductive health, you don't have to be a biological woman or a biological man. And you don't have to identify yourself as a married person or a person who have a family. Or like, it shouldn't be that you can get pregnant or not. It's about your body. So sexual and reproductive health is really important for every person, no matter whether you are going through a surgery, gender affirming surgery or not. It's really important. I think each and every person need to be concerned about your sexual and reproductive health, which kind of a taboo for us to talk about. So I think, yes, it's really important for us to also engage with Family Planning Association. They do a great job. Yes.
Excellent. Bhumi, I think Bhumi raised a very important point of one, investing in people's agency, and two, again, she talks about opportunity. Just accept and provide opportunity, and everybody will not only go beyond, they will carry us to go beyond. Okay, I'm really close to my time limit. मेरा टाइम बिल्कुल अपना टाइम बिल्कुल खत्म हो रहा है. मैं यास्मीन और मुक्ता को एक क्वेश्चन पूछूंगी और आपको आधा से कम सेकंड में जवाब देना है उसका. यास्मीन, आपके हिसाब से अगर कोई एक चीज हमको बदलनी है संस्थाओं में, जो संस्थाएं चल रही है, वो क्या करना चाहिए? यास्मीन के बाद मुक्ता इसका जवाब देगी. ठीक है, यास्मीन आप बताइए.
सैनिटाइज करना चाहिए, उनमें अवेयरनेस, उनमें बहुत सारी जानकारियां होनी चाहिए कि वो कैसे ट्रीट करे.
Thank you, Yasmin. Provider bias is coming up again and again and again. I think sensitization service providers is something. Quality of service comes next. जी मुक्ता.
कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग होनी चाहिए उनकी.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. मुक्ता आपका टर्न.
यस, एक ऐसा परिवार होना बहुत जरूरी है एक फैमिली के लिए कि जैसे बालिग या नाबालिग मायने नहीं रखता कि वो किस रीजन से प्रेग्नेंट हुई है, किस रीजन से नहीं हुई है. ये सारे इशू उसको अंदर से मतलब एक अटैचमेंट देते हैं. पुलिस वाले क्या बोलेंगे, फैमिली वाले क्या बोलेंगे, और कहाँ जाएं कहाँ ना जाएं, ये सबसे बड़ा हमारे दिमाग में जो क्वेश्चन आता है, क्या करें। यंग पीपल्स में जो क्वेश्चन है सबसे पहले, प्रेग्नेंट हो गई है, दुनिया वाले क्या बोलेंगे, फैमिली वाले क्या बोलेंगे, ये सारे क्वेश्चन मतलब हमारे दिमाग में तो चलते हैं कि किससे जाके कहें, क्या बोलें, कैसे बोलें। बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है। अगर हम अपने अंदर झांक के देखते हैं तो एक माँ की तरह अगर उस चीज को, एक ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म होना चाहिए कि जहाँ पे अपनी बातों को हम रख सके, और अबॉर्शन सर्विस होनी चाहिए। और मतलब ऐसे थाने पुलिस और ये सब ना जाके, इन
हाँ
सब
जाके
चीजों में ना जाके, एक ऐसा हमारा यूथ का एक ऐसा परिवार होना चाहिए जहाँ पे अपनी सारी बातों को हम रख सके।
बहुत बढ़िया मुक्ता, तुमने बहुत अच्छी, तुम्हारी स्टाइल से पता चलता है कि कितना स्ट्रेस होता है यंग पर्सन में जब
Yes.
ऐसा कुछ चीज होता है जो वो कोप नहीं कर सके।
मैम टीम एज में भी यही प्रॉब्लम्स आती हैं काफी
हाँ
सारी के
हाँ
किसी भी रीजन से, मायने ये नहीं रखता कि वो किस रीजन से प्रेग्नेंट हुई है, मायने ये रखता है कि उसके अंदर
आगे क्या
कहाँ
करना
जाए
है।
कहाँ ना जाए,
बिल्कुल
ये सारी चीजें
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल
सोल्यूशन कहाँ से निकालें।
बिल्कुल। Thank you so much. I have to stop now. Shanuki and Harjot are going to cut me if I don't. Excellent points, everybody. I think we don't really, I don't need to repeat again and again, but we have to make sure if one person doesn't feel accepted, we are failing in our duty of ensuring in South Asia, people feel secure and safe and enjoyable sexual and reproductive health. Thank you so much. All of you are my gurus on this panel, and I thoroughly enjoyed talking to everyone. Thanks a lot. Enjoy and be connected, all of you. Bye.
थैंक यू
साथ
मैम,
में रहना सब.
हैप्पी
Bye bye.
फैमिली।
Thank you
Thank
so much.
you. Happy family.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Take
ओके
care.
मैम, बाय।